Brother Paul. Good morning to UK investor. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Miss Wade. Good to see you, Miss Wade. I just saw you. What's up, Corey? Come on through, my man. Come on through. It is Saturday. Let's have a good show today, guys. I'm going a little bit early. Scorpio Retro's in the house. What's happening, my man? Let's get to this money. Get the likes and the shares up. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Brother Rashard is in the house. Come on through, my man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Tamara Wade is in the house. Good to see you, sister. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in, guys. Happy Saturday. It is February the 11th. February the 11th. Look at that, man. We got 17 more days left into the month. And this month is insane because it's a short month. And, you know, I work for a company that fiscal year ends this month. So, of course, it's prime time. It's prime time. It's the Super Bowl of our year. And we are getting it done. We're getting it done. We're getting it done. Guys, hope you guys are having a good start to your weekend. It is the 11th, and it is 10:30 a.m. Central Time. We just got back from my son's basketball game, his last basketball game for this league. So I'll get back to in a 8:30, 8:45 starting next week, and then he starts another basketball league in April. So we'll figure out how that's going to work, but we'll deal with that in April. But next week, I'm getting back to the 8:30, 8:45 time slot. That's what I'm doing. That is what I'm doing. Guys, let me get some shout outs to the folks here in the chat. Brother Kamal coming from last week, he was in Thailand. Who knows where he is this week? But if he's back on base, he's more than likely in Japan. Get to see you, my man. Cameron Wade, get to see you as well. Scorpio Retro, get to see you, man. Brother Rashard, get to see you. Brother Paul in the house, get to see you, my man. UK Investor, good to see you as well. Miss Wade is in the house, and Corey is in the house as well, too. Guys, I got some shout outs that I want to send to the folks who are getting into sales. I had 2 calls this week and spoke to 2 of our ladder climbers who've gotten into sales most recently. One is our sister Lamika. She got an account executive role at a startup, and she's very excited about it because she's able to do dual roles, keep her same role that she currently has, but also transition into the tech sales role to get some experience. So shout out to Sister Lamika. She called me to get some advice on how she can hit the ground running. She's buying the level course, the master class, the account executive master class, and that's going to help her and aid her in her journey into the account executive role. So shout out to Sister Lamika. I got a chance to shout out, or I had a chance to speak to our brother Jamil, who is a new Patreon member. and he's working at Angie. He has done sales before, but now he's doing B2B sales with Angie, and he's very excited about it as well too. He called me and wanted to get some guidance on how he can crush this year as well, and he's already off on the right. Well, he's already on the right track, and has already closed about 2 deals already since he started the company. So shout out to brother Jamel for his transition into tech sales, doing what he said he was going to do. Shout out to brother Jamel. And last but not least, I want to shout out our brother who also just joined Angie as well too, our brother Samuel, who wanted to get into tech sales as well too. And of course, Angie was hiring. So he went over to Angie. And guys, if you guys don't know what Angie is, think about the company that does the work for contractors and the software solutions for contractors and so forth. Forgot the name of the company as it was before, but I think it was Angie's List or something like that. And he also got a account executive role at Angie as well to start off his tech sales career. Shout out to brother Samuel. Good stuff. We got brother Nix, Mr. Nix in the house today. We got little M's in the house today as well. We got Luke Garcia in the house today as well. And Journey the Jasmine is in the house. We got to get you on the show, Miss Jasmine. We got to get you on the show. Guys, I got a good show for you guys today. What I wanted to talk about is, one, the layoffs. We got to talk about the layoffs, guys. This week was brutal. The layoffs happened this week. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about things that you can do to find that next role, right? Obviously, layoffs are happening at this point in time, but what is it that you can do to find your next role? And there are companies that are hiring right now, maybe not in the high tech sector that you used to, the Amazons, the Googles, the Microsoft, all these guys who've been laying people off. Guess what? A lot of those roles, or a lot of those companies, aren't hiring right now, but there's tons of other companies that are hiring for tech roles. So I want you guys to expand your reach to some of these other companies that are hiring, because there are plenty of open jobs for tech workers out there. We'll talk about that as well too. Okay. So that's going to be the show today, guys. We're going to first start talking about, let me get my words right, man. I'm all over the place. The tech layoffs. That's what we're going to first start talking about, is the tech layoffs this morning. And then we'll dive into some of the other topics that I have on the agenda today. But let me first start off by saying this, guys. Yahoo is set to lay off over 20% of its workforce, with over 1,600 employees being let go. That's the Yahoo company, right? And this cut will hit Yahoo's ad tech division the hardest, with 50% of its employees in this division expected to be impacted. And the reason for the layoffs is not due to financial challenges, but instead due to strategic changes around the Yahoo business, its advertising unit, according to the CEO. And approximately 1,000 of the cuts have already taken place, with the rest expected to occur in the second half of 2023. Guys, you already know that the tech industry is experiencing a whole bunch of job cuts at an alarming rate, with many companies citing the economy as the issue, right? But also citing that there's declining ad revenue, or they overhired in the pandemic years, right? And those are the main drivers behind a lot of these big tech company layoffs. Yahoo's cut comes at a time when many tech giants, including Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon, have already announced those job cuts. And the tech sector is not the only industry affected by the layoffs. This week, media giants such as Disney, right, announced that it is cutting 1,200 jobs, right? That's 1,200 jobs that it says it's going to be cutting. Matter of fact, no, it said it did cut 1,200 jobs, but it's actually going to cut around 7,000 jobs globally. Other tech companies such as Dell announced recent layoffs. eBay, Zoom, GoDaddy, Affirm, GitHub have all announced cuts this week. So it continues to be a bloody layoff market or a bloody time for these big tech companies. And again, this is happening because a lot of what happened in the past, in the pandemic years, was some of these companies overhired. So now companies are really looking at the decline in revenues and saying, hey guys, we don't need this many people in the workforce or at our company. And what ends up happening is you have people being laid off. I've talked to a couple people who this has impacted, and we're working on plans to have them transition into other roles, other industries, right? And what I would say is that I'm very optimistic about their chances to find another job because of the fact that there are plenty of open jobs for tech workers that exist out there. We just need to start looking. We need to start networking. We need to put ourselves in a good position to land those jobs. And with a career coach, if you are impacted in any way or shape or form, you need to be speaking with your career coach, your mentor, your network, and so forth, so that you can bounce back as quickly as possible. And I would also say this as well, right? If you are impacted, you have to think about other ways that you can be generating revenue, right? Other ways that you can diversify your portfolio. That's what I like to say is, how can you diversify your portfolio? Maybe it's something that you can do on the side, coaching. Maybe it's something that you can do of selling, t-shirts or whatever it is. How do you diversify your portfolio? Also, you really have to think about, do you have the financial well-being to be able to sustain being out of work for a certain amount of time? Some of these companies that are laying people off are giving good severance packages, right? 2 months, 8 weeks, right? That's a good amount of time, but that's not a lot of time if you are in a bad financial position, right? So if you need to find a job right away, number one, you need to be talking to a career coach, a career counselor. If you have the financial means to where you can take a chill and pause and determine what your next step is, I would advise you to do that, right? And either way, I say this, you have to have a good amount of financial support while you're continuing to climb the ladder, because if you don't, you're going to be significantly impacted, right? If your job lays you off and you only have $2,000 in the bank and you can't pay your mortgage because you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's a bad position to be in. That's a very bad position to be in. And I don't want you guys as ladder climbers to be in this sort of position. So, you need to worry and focus on your finances. And there's tons of people that are all over YouTube that you can work with, from Pocket Watching with JT to others, where you can get some financial advice. All right, but let's talk about this. Okay. I want to discuss the latest trends forecast by Glassdoor and Indeed on the job market and what it takes to stand out as a job seeker. We already know that the layoffs have happened. Layoffs are going to happen. With the ongoing challenges and, staffing across the industries due to, an aging population and the shifting demographics, workers will continue to have the upper hand in the job market. At least that's what Glassdoor and Indeed are saying. And as a career coach who have coached hundreds of clients over the last 2 years, I've learned what it takes to stand out in a competitive talent market. Okay. First, I want to give you guys this advice. I want you to really get your resume in place. I want you to emphasize that your resume, or I want to emphasize that your resume earn you the interview. Your resume is going to be what earns you an interview. It's going to get people talking to you, right? So if you've been impacted by the layoffs, or if you are looking for a new role, getting to sales, whatever it is, understand that your resume is going to earn you the interview. But now it's time to, once you got the interview, you have to differentiate yourself, right? You have to show what experience you have. You also have to show what superpowers you have, or what I would say, the perspective that you bring to the table. What is it that you bring to the table? And you have to know that, right? You have to know that. What is it that you bring to the table to grow in the role that you're seeking? And it's important for you to do your research and to be prepared to explain why you are uniquely suited for the position that you are seeking, right? A lot of the times I get, folks emailing me and having conversations with me and saying, hey, I wanted this job, or I'm applying for this job and so forth, but they can't tell why or share with me why they're uniquely qualified for that position. And I want you guys to think about this as you are transitioning to tech sales. Know your why. Why you are the best candidate for that position. What experience do you already have? What is your superpower? Maybe it's the fact that it's easy for you to build relationships. Maybe it's the fact that you have really great communication skills. Maybe it's the fact that you are a really good problem solver. You have to know what your superpower is, and you have to bring that to the table to the employer who's looking to bring you on. That's how you're going to be able to compete into the overall market. And what I would say is this, guys, self-awareness, being self-aware is key in the job search process. Take the time to understand what your superpower is and clarify what your narrative is going to be, and talk about your overall career growth. Don't be afraid to talk about any challenges that you face and how those challenges have shaped you, as they show that you are self-aware. And it really does impress employers. If I go to an employer and I'm talking about I want this role, and something that I can say is, hey, you know what? I failed, or I had challenges in this area. It shows that I'm self-aware. It shows that I sought to challenge myself, and I came across challenges, but I was able to resolve those as well too. So self-awareness is very, very important when it comes down to you creating a narrative about your overall career growth. I've had dozens of roles, from software engineer to consultant to manager to customer support to going into sales and so forth. And not all positions that I've had were easy. A lot of them were challenging, right? Going into sales, it was very challenging. The first time I went into sales, it was challenging. I tell people this story all the time because people ask, hey, Antoine, how did you get into sales? You talk about it all the time. And I say, I got the opportunity to, but it was a challenge. It was a mental challenge for me personally, because although I knew that I wanted to continue to climb the corporate ladder, I didn't know if going into sales was the best path for me. Although my mentors and my coaches have said that, Antoine, you'll do great in sales. But when people are saying that to you, there's a difference with you actually executing on it. Then I got the opportunity, right? And of course, the first 2 months was a challenge. Understanding the process, understanding the products, getting rejected, getting told that they're going to buy something and not buying something. When I'm working with a customer that's going to renew, or saying that they're going to renew, and all of a sudden last minute they say they're not going to. And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue that we lose, right? So those are the challenges that I'll face. But what I would tell you is this: when I think about my superpower, when I think about my career, I talk about those things. And I talk about how that's allowed me to grow in my career as well. So don't be afraid to talk about the challenges that you faced that help to overall shape you. It shows that you are self-aware, guys. And what I would say is this: with the trends of remote work continuing to thrive, it is important to plan for remote work interviews and make the remote connection. That's important, guys. It's very important. How do you make those remote connections? Be thoughtful, be focused, be prepared, activated, and strive to connect in a way that's uniquely your own. I'm on a camera right now connecting with you. I do the exact same thing when I'm on camera connecting with my clients. Right? They say, oh man, Antoine, you got a great mic. Oh, Antoine, you got a nice setup. Well, yeah, I invested into these things. And it's unique because everybody doesn't show up with this type of equipment or this level of preparation or this level of focus. So think about it. With you searching for these new roles, plan to make the connection. And you have to do that by how you put yourself together. Be thoughtful, be focused, be prepared, be activated, and strive to make a connection with the person on the other side that you're going to be speaking with as best as possible. And finally, what I would say is this, guys. From yourself as well as the potential employer that's going to hire you, right? Both of you guys are seeking a value add. The employer wants to bring you on because they know that you're going to come in and crush it. You want to get a job because you know you can crush it and you're going to get paid in monetary form, right? Come with a plan. And what I would say is leave a legacy by raising the bar. Leave a legacy by raising the bar and adding value to your role, right? When you step into a role, it's not just a step into it to get it, but raise the bar. Be the person that paves the way for other people. Leave a legacy behind. Go and do your best and crush it, because that's going to allow for you to get opportunities. And then when you get opportunities, that's going to allow for you to make more money, do more things, diversify your overall career. Something my wife talked to me about last week as we were talking about some changes in my career. She said, you know what? You diversify your finances like you diversify your portfolio or like you diversify your career, right? And I thought about that. I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm invested into real estate. I'm invested into my W-2. I'm invested into 401s, IRAs, stocks and all this other stuff. A whole bunch of stuff that I'm invested into, right? But also, when I think about my career, I've invested into many parts of a business. And when you have invested in yourself to develop skills, it's going to allow for you to climb the ladder. I used the example of going into sales. How I got the opportunity? Well, I only got that opportunity because I left a legacy behind. I added value. I'm only getting future opportunities because I'm leaving a legacy behind. I'm raising the bar. I'm adding value to my role. From somebody who started off completely on the technical side and now is completely on the business side, leading organizations, that's a long career, 17 plus years. Well, it's a short career for a lot of people, but it's 17 years of diversifying myself from engineering to implementation, consulting, to support, to customer success, to sales. And that all has led me to where I am today. It's led me to where I am today. And I would tell you this is, when you diversify your skill sets as well, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. You can make pivots a lot faster as well. So think about that when you think about your career, I remember at one point in time early on, I was told not to diversify. Be a subject matter expert and be the best. And that stuck with me for a good amount of years. That stuck with me. And the person that told me that was a person that I definitely admired at that time. Like, nah, Antoine, if you really want to get to the money, become a subject matter expert. And that still holds true in some aspects of it, right? If you think about it, if you are like the best AI engineer or something like that, and you stayed in that lane for a long time, you can do all sorts of things, consulting and all this other stuff, and you're going to be known as the expert. But if you diversify as well, you're going to be able to lead people and do multiple things, not just be the subject matter expert in this. You may be a subject matter expert in this, but you may become a novice or an expert in something else, and an expert in something else, and an expert in leading people, and an expert in managing, and all of that. So diversify your portfolio, and I can tell you this right now, it's going to help you make more money in your career. It's going to help you become a better value add to people that you're giving value to, okay? So going back to my whole point of this whole spiel was, you know what? As a career coach, how do you stand out into this talented job market? All these people are being laid off and so forth, and people are looking for jobs. 1, be prepared. 2, be self-aware. 3, bring your unique skills and the experience to the table that you have. If you do that, you will land that job. You will land that job. It starts with you understanding, who you are as a person and what you bring to the table. And some people, they just don't understand what that is, okay? But figure it out. Figure it out. Again, be prepared, be self-aware, and bring your unique skills to the table and know how to talk about it, okay? All right, so I wanted to hit on that one. I want to share a video because although I started talking about layoffs, we know that the job market is still hiring, guys. I want to share this video real quick. Let me dig in here. Let me jump in here real quick.
Well, there's a big disconnect between the headlines and between the data. If you look at what's really happening with layoffs, 2022 was the year on record with the smallest number of layoffs. Layoffs are only above average in 3 sectors, tech, finance, and trucking. But elsewhere in the economy, they are way, way below normal levels.
So you heard what she said. Tech layoffs are happening in tech, right? Finance.
2022 was the year on record with the smallest number of layoffs. Layoffs are only above average in 3 sectors, tech, finance, and trucking.
Tech, finance, and trucking are where the layoffs are happening the most this year. But 2022 in general, you think about all the prior years, layoffs are a lot less than other years, going back to the early 90s. So yes, we're talking about it and it's happening, right? But it's not like it's the end of the world. The economy is still strong.
But elsewhere in the economy, they are way, way below normal levels.
So that right now tells you what? I mean, I hear that and I go, well, not sustainable. Hammer's about to fall. It's going to catch up with small biz and everybody else eventually. But how do you see it?
Well, there are certainly risks ahead. I mean, investment has collapsed. Business investment in home building, in software development, in research and development, in equipment have all cooled substantially in response to the Fed's rate hike.
So what does that mean, right? Investment, she says, has collapsed. What does that mean, guys? Well, that means that in some of us who are in sales, right? Companies are slowing down what they're buying. Companies are slowing down what they're buying. So budgets are being put on hold. Hiring is being put on hold. Layoffs are happening. Companies aren't getting the funding that they need to grow. The housing market, of course, you've seen what's happened there. Some builders are going bankrupt. Nobody's buying at this point in time unless you have cash, right? So there's a lot that's going on here. Let's continue on.
And we know that investment is necessary for this level of job growth to be sustainable. But the U.S. consumer can take us a pretty long way. I mean, if you've heard recent earnings calls like Uber's yesterday, they said, yeah, we're seeing businesses pull back, but the consumer is still so strong that the business is roaring. And that's what Main Street businesses are experiencing. Small businesses are seeing enormous numbers of customers come through the door. They can't keep up on the hiring front, and that means that they're still adding jobs just to fill their immediate business needs.
And you guys have some access to this churn, to what's happening in the labor market, especially with these tech workers who have been laid off, and we're generally finding work pretty quickly. I mean, is that still true? Is there anything in the recent weeks even that tells you that these dynamics are changing?
We conducted a survey of laid-off workers in January. We just closed it, and those are workers who were laid off since July 1st. And the findings are quite striking. So among those laid off in the last 6 months, 42% have found new jobs that pay more than the jobs that laid them off.
Wow.
Look at what she said, guys. And I will go back to this statistic. Okay? I'll go back to the statistic that she put up here. All right. Hiring spree. 79% of recently laid off workers found a new job within 3 months. Okay. 40% found jobs less than a month after they began searching. I know a ladder climber who literally found a job after they've been laid off in 3 weeks. Getting paid more money. Getting paid more money. Right? So the job market is interesting, guys. The layoffs are happening and we're talking about it. And again, I don't want to scare you guys who are looking to make the transition into tech or tech sales or, sales engineering or AI and data analytics and so forth. Guys, continue to go because there is such a need out here. It may not just be some of the high tech companies. And I will tell you like this, right? And this is what I've spoken about multiple times to many of my mentees and so forth. A lot of them are coming out of school or in school and, looking to get into their first job. And they always wanted to work for the Metas, the Facebooks, the Microsoft. And I always just try to steer them away from it, to be quite honest with you, because it's so hard to get into those companies. It's like, again, trying to get into like a Harvard. And you're going to be one of hundreds of thousands, right? Are you going to be able to make a significant impact? Probably not. Are you going to be able to leave a legacy behind? Probably not, right? So why not work for a company that is great in what they do, involved in tech, where you can not just be a large number, right? Or one person amongst 250,000, one person amongst, 100,000. And the only reason that these people wanted to work for these large high-tech companies and big tech companies and FANGs, whatever you want to call it, is because it looked good for their resume. It looked good for the resume. It does. I'm like, you see, this person worked for Google. The first thing you think is, this person is smart. All right, Google hired him, so they must have saw something in him. Maybe I should hire him as well. Or you see somebody who goes to Harvard. You think the same thing. Oh, my God, this person is a genius, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's for you. And we're seeing right now that it's not for you. We have people who have just started at like a Google or a Microsoft and got in, and all of a sudden, after 8 months, they're laid off. They're laid off. No, find a company that you believe in after you've done your research and go and work for them. Go and work for them. Could be a company that only has 4,000 employees, 5,000, a couple hundred. You can do so much at a company like that. Spread your wings. Go through the ranks fast. Get promoted. Make a good amount of money. Make more some of the times than what they pay at these top tech companies. So continue to look at tech, but also know that it doesn't have to be big tech, because big tech right now is getting demolished when it comes down to layoffs. They're getting rid of a whole bunch of people.
And the findings are quite striking. So among those laid off in the last 6 months, 42% have found new jobs that pay more than the jobs that laid them off.
Wow.
On average, they've found reemployment within about 8 weeks. And so this is really the best time to be laid off. The labor market is still extremely tight, and there are abundant opportunities.
Look at that, guys. Tech layoffs. Amazon, 18,000. Alphabet, 12,000. Meta, 11,000. Microsoft, 10,000. Salesforce, 8,000. Dell, 6,500. IBM, 3,900. SAP, 2,800. Zoom, 1,300. Spotify, 600. That is a lot of layoffs, guys. And these are big tech companies that a lot of people wanted to work for. And they were hiring like crazy, giving people $400,000 a year, $500,000 a year. They aren't giving people that amount of money right now.
It's never good to be laid off. It always is a shock.
Sure.
Most people who were laid off say that it was a huge surprise to them. They didn't expect it. They didn't see it coming. But many are actually finding that they are coming out ahead.
By the way, the anecdotes you hear from tech companies about how layoffs have happened for the most part are like, it's almost like a random number generator. So in many cases, they are letting highly skilled people go. And I'm sure there's other firms who are desperate for talent who are thrilled to be able to have access to that. So do you think this is one of those kind of production recession, but not employment recession kind of dynamics here?
That is what seems to be the case. We still do have a shortfall in the labor market of about 3.5 million workers compared to the pre-pandemic trend. And you can't lay off what you haven't hired. Many industries, many businesses still have a staffing shortfall. And so they're in no hurry to let workers go.
There you go. There you go, guys. Although the layoffs are happening, there's opportunities that exist out here. And I would say this, guys. Yeah, it's going to happen to every one of us in our career. It's going to happen. You're going to lose a customer. If you're a W-2 employee, you may get laid off. How do you bounce back? How do you bounce back? Surround yourself with a community. Make sure you understand your value. Talk to a coach. Book a session with the Black Heights. And get going. And get going, guys. And let's talk about this. We talked about, she just said how there are plenty of jobs that are out there. Well, let's talk about, there are plenty of open jobs for tech workers. They're just not at tech companies. Okay? There are plenty of jobs for tech workers. They're just not at tech companies. Let's go to this article. It's been a tough few months to be a tech worker. Tech jobs, highly sought after for their high pay and cushy benefits, seems less secure than ever, as nearly every major tech company has cut headcounts and slashed budgets in the past 6 months. The bloodbath shows no sign of slowing down. Nearly 95,000 tech workers have been laid off in the first few weeks of 2023. Is there a silver lining for tech workers? Right? It's not all bad news for recently laid off tech workers. Many of their skills are still in high demand, but they may need to get more creative in your job search, according to a report by Bain & Company. According to Bain, job postings calling for people with tech experience or expertise are growing within non-tech industries. The growth of demand for tech talent for non-tech business has really been a game changer. Right? Using publicly available job postings and U.S. government data, Frick and his team determined that the demand for tech workers at non-tech businesses outpaces demand at tech businesses for the first time. Non-tech businesses are still needing your skills. Companies across industries are using more technology, causing a greater need for people with software engineering skills. He's used Walmart and Amazon as an example. One is traditionally seen as a retailer, and one is seen as a tech company. But the reality is that they have to converge in terms of what kinds of skills they need. Right? Workers with Web3 AI backgrounds are in high demand. While some tech projects have been put on pause or canceled, there's still a strong demand for software developers among government and retail clients. The team at Bain found that skills in Web3, AI, our brother AI and me, data science, cloud computing, brother Mr. Nix, cybersecurity were amongst the most in-demand jobs at non-tech companies. Read that, guys. The team at Bain found that skills in Web3, AI, data science, cloud computing, and cybersecurity were among the most in demand at non-tech companies. Job openings for workers with Web3 and AI experience grew 237% and 108% respectively between the fourth quarter of 2020 and the third quarter of 2022. Right? The demand for workers in these fields are in the US, India, and Europe. There's more demand than there is supply. Okay? Let's talk about the pay. Whether non-tech pays or non-tech firms, such as retailers, can pay the same sky-high salaries as tech counterparts remains another story. They're trying to find other ways to attract people because they don't have the ability to print cash, and some of these big tech companies have, right? So if you go to a Walmart or Amazon or something like that, matter of fact, when we did a lot of the salary discussions last year, you saw that Amazon wasn't at the top when it comes to tech pay because they're known as a retailer, right? Although they are a technology company, they're known as a retailer. Walmart, another one. They're not going to pay you as much as a Google, but you're going to get paid a hell of a lot because of your skills. You're going to get paid a hell of a lot because of your skills, right? So they're saying that they're trying to find other ways to attract these people because they can't or they don't have the ability to print cash, right? And some of these companies are getting creative. So guys, you see it. You see it. I just shared it with you that the job market continues to boom. We saw that on the latest job report. Tech companies continue to slash. The jobs are out there. You just got to get creative to find the one that you want. And I will tell you like this. If you're looking for one, you need to work with a coach. Book a session with Black Heights. Book a session with Black Heights. There's recruiters that work for us. There's people with project management skills. There's people with software engineering, sales engineering skills. We can connect you with them all, okay? We can connect you with them all. Book a session with Black Heights. Guys, let's dive over here. I want to dive into the chats now to see what you guys are talking about. I just wanted to do a quick show this morning to drop the knowledge. Brother Paul's in the house. He says, I just talked to the IT department at a company that makes golf carts. Lots of smaller IT and tech departments out there in non-tech focused companies. Absolutely. Absolutely. Journey to Jasmine said hospitals, universities, airlines, banks. These are all industries that are not traditionally tech, but they're hiring for tech positions because they have cybersecurity needs. They have AI needs. They have engineering needs. They have salespeople's needs. So consider these companies as well, these industries. Shout out to brother Clark Wade, my brother in the house, for the $5 super chat. Let me see if I can bring that on the screen. My super chat software is acting crazy right now. Let me get this up here real quick. I want to make sure I don't miss them. And I'll go through the super chats. Brother Clark Way said, valuable game. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Journey to Jasmine says, this is such sound advice. I've applied to so much of your knowledge and it's increasing my network. And let me go back to this one. It cut off for a second. And my net worth. And thank you. I appreciate you, Journey to Jasmine. Mr. Nix, thank you so much for the $2 super chat, brother. Let's get in here to see what Mr. Nix had to say. Mr. Nix says, start a blog and repost to LinkedIn groups. Absolutely. That's how you get yourself out there. That is how you get yourself out there. Brother Damien, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Save some money for a rainy day. Absolutely. You have to have your finances in order because in tough times like this, if you get laid off, you want to be able to have a good amount of cash that you can fall back on. If you want to make a career transition and not have to take the steps or not have to take the first job that they're offering you, you want to have your finances in order. You want to have multiple streams of income. Maybe you want to just stop and to say, you know what, I'm going to take a pause. I'm just going to do a complete change. Maybe you are in sales and you're like, you know what, I'm done with sales. Maybe I want to do project management. You need to, spend about 3 to 4 months getting a certification or something along those lines because you are ready to make a career transition. You can do it if your finances are in order. If you're not, if your finances aren't in order, you have to take something right away. You have to. And that's not a good position to be in. It's not a good position to be in at all. Brother USA 375 asked the question, says, is this the same for a junior developer 1 year of experience? Job postings often ask for 3 to 5 years of experience. Any advice? What's the question? What's the question? I want to know what the question is. USA 375 is what the same for a junior developer? Help me understand what that question is. LL is in the house. Antoine, my guy, thank you so much for your leadership and wealth of knowledge. I appreciate you being here. LL, thank you so much. We get your question out there, USA. And guys, if you have any questions, do leave them in the chat. I wanted to have a quick show today, but I also wanted to make sure that I answer any of your questions that are out there. And USA 375, give me a little bit more details on what your question is, and I'll be able to answer that. The money is out here, guys. The money is out here. I want you guys to make sure that you protect yourselves by, one, diversifying your skill sets. Just like you would diversify your portfolio and not just invest in a whole bunch of stocks. You may have mutual funds or other things that you're invested into. You need to diversify your skill sets as well. Okay? Corey Reed says, I've been playing with ChatGPT since last week's show. This is the cheat code. Yes, absolutely. When do you think things will start to pick back up in the market? Well, I tell you one thing, BMC, I would say this, right? Like, the market is looking good. I'm like, tech is just shedding all of the weight that it picked up during the pandemic time. And unfortunately, some people that are really good at their jobs end up getting the short end of the stick, but they're going to find another road. They're going to find another road. What you're seeing that's happening is other industries were decimated during the pandemic years. So they got rid of a whole bunch of people. And a lot of those people end up going into tech because tech picked up. Now, tech is kind of, getting back to that point where they're, right where they should be potentially, right before the pandemic and so forth. So they're getting rid of the extra that they had because of the fast growth. But overall, from the trends and the market analysis, the market looks good. That's why inflation is still high. It's just a adjustment, a rebalancing that's going on. So that's my thoughts on that, BMC. Corey Reed says, I've been playing with ChatGPT. Yeah, let's use ChatGPT as an example. I want to show you guys something because I've been putting a lot of people on ChatGPT. So USA, I want to get back to your question. He says, are there job openings for junior developers with less than 3 years of experience? I'm not finding a lot on LinkedIn, Indeed, and other job boards. I'm sure there are, USA 375, right? And you have to think about it. If you have less than 3 years of experience, if you're new, you can say that you have more years of experience because if you've gone to college, that's experience. If you've done any sort of projects, that's experience. It may not just be, full corporate experience or work experience working at a company, but you have experience. If you've gone to college, put that in your resume. If the minimum is 3 years for entry level, include that you've gone to college, took a boot camp, any of the time that you spent on building your portfolio, any of the projects that you've done, any of the side projects you've done, consider that to be experience. So you should be looking for roles that are anywhere from, 1 to 3 or 5 years because you have it, especially if you've gone to college. As a career coach, that's what I tell my people to do. Talk about the experience that you've learned back in university. Talk about the projects that you've had, the projects you've done. And there are companies that are hiring, my man. Tim, for me or you, tech layoff headlines are just FUD attempts to sell you shares and buy puts. Those never becoming rich, never fall for FUD, always buy the dip and sell calls. Yeah, you think about that too, right? What we're seeing right now is just like the video shared, guys, and what they said. 2022 was the year of a whole bunch of layoffs, right, in tech. But it was less layoffs than any other year in tech. So you're hearing about it because it's happening, and it's a whole bunch of fear, undoubt, certainty, uncertainty that they're putting out there. Whole bunch of FUD, right? Causing you to get scared, causing you to think that companies are going down. And yet you see from earnings calls, there's some companies that are crushing it, like Tesla, again. Right? So I agree with that. Joseph, the creator, says, and Paul answers to USA 375, apply anyway. Ignore the 3-5 years of requirements. When I was hiring, what you did was most important than how long you did it. I agree with that. Absolutely. Tech G says a lot of these layoffs were tech adjacent positions, not necessarily just the actual tech worker. Absolutely. Joseph, the creator, says, I've currently been a software engineer for 8 months, have a computer science degree, and have 5 years of sales experience. Should I go through a boot camp or just network for a sales engineering role? As a software engineer, Joseph, I would say this, my man, right? Like, there are some boot camps that exist out there, like the Careers one that a lot of people are talking about that can help you get into sales as a sales engineer. But I would say this, network. That's going to be your number one thing, network. Build your network, shoot your shot, apply for these roles on LinkedIn or Indeed, connect with the managers, tell your story like I spoke about earlier. What is your superpower? How are you going to take your previous sales experience, now that you are a software engineer, put them together and create and become a world-class sales engineer? You should have that story. You were in sales, then you became a software engineer. Wow, that's fantastic. You know how to sell and you know about technology. That's the perfect blend if you can put your story together of why you should be a sales engineer, especially if you were a closer. Be able to create that story, Joseph the creator, and network with people, and people are going to buy that story and say, I want this guy. That's how you get yourself in. Boot camps and stuff like that does work, right? But If you don't need to do it, don't do it. We got Brother Paul who's in here, who's a sales engineer. He'll give you the game of what you need to know. Book a session with him. Book a session with Brother Paul. He'll be able to help you out there, Joseph the Creator. Corey Reed, I asked ChatGPT for a cold call script, and within seconds, I have at least a template. Can't wait to use this. And guys, let me show you something, because many of you don't know how powerful ChatGPT is, guys. Many of you don't know how powerful ChatGPT is, and I'm going to give you an example. If you aren't using it, you should be using it, okay? If you aren't using it, you should be using it. I'm going to share my screen with you all and show you. This is ChatGPT, right? And I'm going to also do something as well. I'm going to go to one of my old resumes, right? I'll go to one of my old resumes, and what I want to do here is I want to take the wording from my resume and I want to spruce it up a bit, right? So let's just say, let me share this with you guys. Let me see if I can do that. Oh, let me get back to my screen. It's showing GPT. All right, let's do this. Bring this down. All right, so I have a resume, yada, yada, yada. This is an old resume, but not updated. It's account management resume and so forth, right? And this was, something that I use to just make sure that I was going to use it for internal positions and so forth, right? Area sales director, sales executive, yada, yada, yada. I have account management, plan to implement it and execute 5-year subscription and upsell renewal contracts for two Fortune 100 companies, leverage PMO, yada, yada, yada. So one of the things that you can do in ChatGPT is literally take whatever you have in your resume. So let's just say you may not be the best wordsmith or person that, can just describe what you've done before, right? Or you have a summary in your resume. Let me use another example because there's multiple summaries that I have in my resume. So let's use this one, for example, right? In this one, there's a summary. Leader and influencer in strategic and transformation of supply chain management systems, right? Over 10 years of experience leading and supporting Blue Yonder, blah, blah, blah. This is an old resume. Established reputation for success through consistent. So this is a summary that I had in a resume, right? And I wanted to, say that I wanted to turn this into a sales summary, right? So I can say something like this in ChatGPT. Improve resume summary to for a position as a sales leader and make it very positive, right? So basically I says improve the resume summary, improve this resume summary for a position as a sales leader and make it very positive. And this has nothing to do with sales, right? This is a older resume from, maybe 2010. And I says leader and influencer in the strategic transformation of supply chain systems, over 10 years of experience leading and supporting Blue Yonder WMS projects, established reputation for success through consistent delivery to customers and expected timeline, passion for solving problems, resolving conflict, managing client relationships, and facilitating alignment to business goals. Well, that has nothing to do with sales. Well, let's see how ChatGPT can turn this into a summary for that of a sales role, right? So many of you guys want to get into sales and you don't know how to summarize what you've done that helps you to get into sales. Well, you can use a tool like ChatGPT to help you with that. So All I did was type improve this resume summary for a position as a sales leader and make it very positive, right? Let me hit enter. Let's see what it creates for me. Now I have a new summary. And this is something that you can do as well. Many of you have concerns about your bullet points in your resumes. And I look over resumes all the time. And it's like, Antoine, is this the right tense? Or does it sound right? Well, you can use ChatGPT to clean all of that up. So let's look at the output. So I turned a resume that was more towards a project management on a supply chain space into a sales leader and so forth. Let's see, or asked it to turn it into such a thing. It created dynamic and results-driven sales leader with over a decade of experience in driving successful supply chain systems transformations. A thought leader in the field of Blue Yonder WMS, consistently delivering exceptional results and exceeding customer expectations. Proven success in problem solving, conflict resolution, building and nurturing strong client relationships, and aligning teams to meet business goals. Committed to drive positive change and leaving a lasting impact in every project. Doesn't that sound salesy? Right? Proven success in problem solving, building and nurturing strong client relationships. Right? That's what you do in sales. Aligning to teams and meeting business goals. That's part of sales. Committed to driving positive change and leaving a lasting impact in every project. That's sales. So these are ways that you guys can leverage tools like ChatGPT to help you improve your resume. I'm glad that you brought that up, Corey, because I use it. I've used it to help others in this area. And I was on a coaching client with a good brother of ours this week. And he is making a transition from a data analyst to sales, right? And I just said, hey, that summary looks good, but that's for a data analyst. Has not anything to do with sales. You need to rewrite that so it shows that you are interested in sales, or you've done sales, or you want to get into sales. And it literally took his summary that he already created, he popped it into ChatGPT, and voila, in a matter of seconds. In a matter of seconds. I can take any of the other bullet points in this resume here, right? So I have led multiple successful enterprise software implementations resulting in $1 million of revenue and satisfied customers, right? Take this bullet point, dump that into ChatGPT, and let's say rewrite resume bullet point to make it more impactful. Boom. Okay, so kept it at a sentence, but it gave me a bullet, directed multiple groundbreaking enterprise software implementations, generating millions in revenue and cultivating an army of ecstatic customers. Now, I would take out the army of ecstatic customers, right? But it sounds good, right? Before, it was led multiple successful enterprise software implementation resulting in $1 million of revenue and satisfied customers. Well, it changed that and rewrote it and said directed multiple groundbreaking enterprise software implementations, generating millions in revenue and cultivating an army of ecstatic customers. You can use that as is, right? It's bragging on yourself. I wouldn't use the word an army of ecstatic customers, but that sounds fantastic. Put that in your resume. Hell yeah. So you can leverage tools like ChatGPT to do such a thing. Okay? You can leverage tools like ChatGPT to do such a thing, guys. It's a powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool. And I can tell you this, if you're not using it, you don't have to cheat code. You don't have to cheat code, my man. Or my lady. Or my friend. ChatGPT is a cheat code. Leverage it, guys. It's a powerful tool. I use it just about daily to the point where I'm going to get the Plus subscription. I'm going to get the plus subscription. It's helped with website designs. It's helped with rewriting something from that I gotten from a pissed off client, right? And polishing it up, so that I take a bit of my anger and frustration out of the email. It's allowed for me to take data and put it in simple terms so that I understand and others understand, since I'm in sales. It's a powerful tool, guys. Very, very powerful tool. Is ChatGPT good for making ATS-friendly resumes? I don't know about that, Galen. You would have to, test it, right? From what I understand, it's good for that. It's good, right? There's an article here on ChatGPT of who's all using it and what they're using it for. Let's go to careers. I saw this one this morning. How 6 workers are using ChatGPT to make their jobs easier. Realtors. James Chris, a 39-year-old New Jersey realtor, told Insider he uses ChatGPT daily, and that is a central part of his business. I use ChatGPT to write marketing copy, real estate listings, social media content, build educational topics for my team, and so many other things. Right? He's a realtor. Marketing professionals. Missouri-based marketing professional who runs her own digital marketing agency was completely mind-blown when she asked ChatGPT to write a press release for a company she was working with. It was really quality press release that literally took 15 seconds to spit out. Lawyers, they use it as well too. Teachers, they use it as well too. You will have to dig into if it's, allows for you to creates a resume for ATS or anything like that. What I would say this: create your own resume and run it by ChatGPT to polish it up. That's what you should use it for. Polish your resume up. It's an enhancer, right? It's like, all right, if your food tastes good, it's the seasoning, right? If your food is bland, because a lot of us, we have bland food, right? You know how to make bland food, but ChatGPT is like the seasonings to make that shit taste real good. And it does it just like that. Just imagine you making a chicken breast, right? And put no seasonings on it. And all of a sudden, you got a way to put seasonings on it to make it taste good. And that's what ChatGPT does. It doesn't just create the meal for you. It allows for you to leverage it and enhance whatever you already have, or create something from scratch for you. As far as a resume, I'm sure people have done it. I'm sure people have used it. But does it beat ATS? I don't know. Something that you can definitely test out, though. Something you can definitely test out. All right, guys. That's what I had today. Wanted to run through a few examples of ChatGPT and how you can use it. It's fantastic. My wife, Ms. Wade, says ChatGPT got me fired as my husband's proofreader editor. Now I'm unemployed. Oh, she's so right. She's so right, right? Like there were times when I used to be like, hey, babe, like read this so I don't come off too unprofessional or not politically correct or stuff like that. Nope. Don't need to ask anymore. ChatGPT makes it right already for me, right? So those are the things that I leverage ChatGPT for on a daily basis, right? If you want to respond back to a coworker because they pissed you off or something like that, it's kind of like before I go to Ms. Wade, like should I send this? Should I send this? I'm about to hit the button. And before you know it, she'd be in her room reading it. Nah, you might want to clean that up. That might, yeah. Because you want a neutral party, right? You don't want, your emotions to be in it. You want your communication to be clear and effective. And ever since ChatGPT Nah, man. Miss Wade's like,
God damn!
oh gosh. And it can do coding and all for you guys. So it's a fantastic tool, guys. But that's all I have for today. I'm getting ready to get out here and go and spend some time with the family. I don't know what we're going to do this Saturday. Maybe we're going to go visit a vineyard or something like that. I don't know. I'm hungry though. Guys, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for spending this Saturday with me. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your just coming to spend some time with me on this Saturday. I know it's late in the day, not coffee time, but it's always a good time to hang out with the BH family. And I appreciate you guys. And guess what? And until next time, peace. Brother SOBC's in the house, man. Good to see you, brother Kevin. Crushing it as always. I will text you, brother SOBC, with that information. Brother Corey, thank you so much for coming through, my man. USA 375 says he used ChatGPT has helped me with learning Tailwind CSS and Entity Framework. Superpower. Dark Moon Gaming says exactly, it's a powerful enhancer. Yes, it is. Paul says ChatGPT wrote the outline for my next course. Needs some tweaks, but incredibly comprehensive compared to what I had put together. Absolutely. See, that's smart. Tech G says, what other stuff does the subscription version offer? New updates, new features. You know how a lot of times Tech G, when you go to ChatGPT, it's down and you have to wait in order for you to get access to it? Well, you don't have to wait anymore. You have full access to it and no more waiting in the queue to get access to it anymore. Galen Wright, is ChatGPT good for making ATS? I think we went over that already. Those are the creator. Appreciate you for dropping in, my man. I love the content. Keep it up. Keep going, my man. Tim, for me or you? Good to see you, brother. LL's in the house. The Journey to Jasmine's in the house. Guys, thank you so much for the super chat. Brother Clark Wade, thank you so much for the super chat. Journey to Jasmine, thank you so much. Mr. No Limits in the house. Mr. Nix is in the house. Norris Brown is in the house. Good to see you, brother Norris. We're going to see you in a couple of weekends. Damien from the country is in the house. Big brother. IT Wizards in the house. Good to see you, my man. Lil Ernest is in the house. Tamara Wade, appreciate you for being here. Brother Rashard.